following statistics on the leading causes of traumatic brain injury were taken from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. They are average statistics taken in the United States between 2002 and 2006. The statistics can be seen on this chart. At 35%, 35.2%, falls are the most common cause of traumatic brain injury, followed by unknown or other at 21%, motor vehicle or traffic accidents at 17.3%, being struck by or against at 16.5%. This could be something like a tree branch or a rock. And lastly, assault at 10%. According to the chart, football would most likely fall in the 16.5% range because of the game, it's the most likely occurrence. In the last 5 years, doctors are increasingly becoming concerned that there is a direct relationship between head injuries sustained during a football game and long-term brain damage, which could eventually lead to Lou Gehrig's disease. According to the U.S. National Library of Medicine, Lou Gehrig's disease, more commonly known as amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS, is a debilitating disease of the nerve cells that affects control of voluntary muscle movement. This leads to twitching, spasms, and the eventual inability to move extremities. Unfortunately, this is the nature of the game. Many retired NFL players have long histories of blows to the head. One of the biggest concerns being concussions that go unnoticed. According to the American Academy of Neurology, the constant rattling of the brain and spinal cord can lead to slow onset brain damage. However, not everyone is sold on this theory. Looking at the chart, you are twice as likely to suffer brain damage from a fall than you are being struck or against, like you would be in a football game. Even so, the NFL is taking note and have recently put into effect a new set of rules to limit the head injuries. According to NFL.com, head-to-head or helmet-to-helmet contact is forbidden. It results in a penalty and a hefty fine for the offending player. Unfortunately, though, rough and tumble play is the nature of the game. They play hard because the game calls for it. While penalties are enforced, helmet-to-helmet contact is not the only issue. The league does not require players to wear all of the protective gear available to them, other than the helmet. For instance, on any given game day, a player can be seen without his shin guards, his mouth guard, or perhaps the most important of all the optional gear, his neck guard. A neck guard is essentially a piece of metal that sits at the top of the jersey and protects the head from swinging back in a whiplash motion. The helmets are well equipped in this day and age, and the skull is well protected. Compared to this 1970s high school helmet, which is padded and in the necessary spots and could no doubt survive a beating. Say if I were to slam it against his desk or throw it down the street, a dent would be the only visible sign that I had used the helmet. If this helmet can protect the brain, certainly a multi-million-dollar organization like the NFL has helmets that are designed specifically to reduce the risk of head trauma. But it's not enough. The spine guards are an invaluable piece of gear to the player's safety. Since it's an optional piece of gear, only the wide receivers and quarterbacks are known to wear them because they are the most vulnerable to hard hits. Linemen usually wear the bare minimum to ensure agility. Pads are bulky and they expect their performance. Unfortunately, they are not immune to hard hits. According to the University of Pittsburgh Department of Neurological Surgery, the brain and spinal cord make up the central nervous system. They work hand in hand, and injury to one can directly affect the other. While the intentions of the NFL are good when enforcing these rules and regulations to rough play, if they don't force players to wear the gear that is available to them and protect them from serious injury, they may as well not enforce any rules at all. Football players think they are invincible, much like a biker who doesn't wear his helmet because the law does not require him to. Another issue is the fine. For some pro players, money is no object. For instance, Troy Polamalu from Pittsburgh Steelers was recently fined $10,000 for using his cell phone on the sideline. It's not that he thought he was above the rules, but he was talking to his wife, and to him, $10,000 is like chump change. For similar reasons, players do what they do, and they don't consider the consequences. The NFL should consider the spinal guard on the back of their jerseys as a necessary piece of gear. It should be required just like the helmet. Fines are good and penalties are better, but enforcing the use of all gear should be required. This gear is part of the NFL, a well-known moneymaker, and should be at its top performance. The freedom they feel without the gear is a small sacrifice considering the alternative. Former Oakland Raider defensive back Jack Tatum once said, "I like to believe that my best hits border on felonious assault." I see Jack Tatum's point because it's football, and it's a business. But this further illustrates the mentality of many pro players. They can beat each other to a pulp, but at what cost? Wear the gear or pay the price later in life. Wear the gear or don't play. Thank you.